Hi, Nicole Dorsey here with the Tuscarawas County Health Department. Today we're talking about the Ohio Buckeyes program. This is a program that provides a free safety seat for your child, whether they are in a convertible seat, so newborn to 65 pounds, or they transition to the next stage of a booster seat. Today we're going to talk about the specific seats that we give here, as well as how to keep your child safe every time you're in the car. So first, this is the car seat that we provide. It's an even flow Titan 65. So this car seat in particular goes from 5 pounds. So as long as your newborn is at least 5 pounds, they can be in this seat all the way up to 65 pounds. This seat does go rear facing, and then it turns around to go forward facing when it's in your car. So this should be the only seat, as long as you're not in an accident, the only seat that you would need for your child until they transition to a booster seat. So some of the important things that we want to talk about with this seat in particular is that it does go rear facing and turns around as the child grows to forward facing. So to go rear facing, it sits like this in your vehicle. There is a kickstand underneath. You pop that out and it sits like this in your vehicle. The recline angle of an infant car seat that is rear facing should be between 30 and 45 degrees. This car seat and every car seat that you have that's rear facing is going to have some kind of indicator on it that shows you what angle it needs to be at for that particular car seat. For this car seat, it has a black stamp stamped into the side of it, so you would just make sure that that arrow that is stamped into the side of it is parallel with the ground. So as they're rear facing and they're sitting like this keeps the child's head, neck, and back protected in case of an accident. So with this seat rear facing, your child can sit in this rear facing up to 40 pounds or 40 inches. So that is oftentimes up until they are between 2 and 3 years old, sometimes even up to 4 years old. So you may be wondering, if a child is sitting in here and they're older, what happens when their feet are touching the back of the vehicle seat? We tend to look at kids and think that they're uncomfortable, which in reality, kids are very flexible and they can get themselves into positions that as adults we can't do anymore. So it's actually safer, even though their feet may be touching the back of the vehicle seat, it is safer for them, if you were to get into an accident, for them to be rear facing. So I'm just going to store this kickstand so I can talk to you about the forward facing. So as the child transitions to forward facing, which would be no sooner than they reach their second birthday, but you want to keep them rear facing as long as possible. So 40 pounds, 40 inches. Once you turn them forward facing, then they can be in this harness until they reach 65 pounds or until they outgrow the harness, depending on how tall they are. So as you can see, the harness, it comes stored. The way you receive the car seat is in a position that can be used for forward facing or rear facing. It's very important to have the straps in the proper place when you have your child buckled in. So what you would want to do is first determine if your child should be rear facing or forward facing, and then where on the seat the strap should be. If they're rear facing, the strap should be at or below their shoulders. If they're forward facing, the strap should be at or above their shoulders. So, as you can see, these straps are pretty high. If you have a rear facing child and they are on the younger end, particularly newborn, even up to their first year, most likely these are going to need to be lowered. To do that, all you do is push the silver button, pull out here, which gives you some slack in the back that you can work with. So in the back, you have the buckle that holds the harness straps. What I always recommend is that you undo one at a time so you can make sure that you rethread them properly. So we are going to actually set this up for a newborn. So I undid one. I'm going to pull it all the way through the front. And then I'm going to go in the lowest position. So you just slide it through the back. Once you have it through, then you can reconnect it, as you can see the example from the other side. And then you can go ahead and do the other side. Pull it through the front. This one I'm going to put on the lowest position. And then put it back in the clip. So, right now we have the harness straps successfully moved to the bottom level. To tighten that, all you do is pull on this webbing until it gets to the desired level of tightness. So you may be asking, how tight should it be when my child is in here? Of course, we don't want you to hurt your child, but the priority is to keep them safe. So when you have your child in here and you have the strap pulled as far as you can, you'll know it's tight enough when you do the pinch test. So for the pinch test, you, at your child's shoulder, you grab the webbing between your fingers. If you can grab any webbing between your fingers, it's not tight enough, and you'll need to make sure to pull the webbing a little bit more to tighten it some more. If your fingers just slide off the webbing and you cannot pinch it between your fingers at the shoulder, then you know you have it tight enough. While we're talking about the harness strap, I want to pay attention to the chest plate. So the chest plate for this particular car seat, you push the button in on one side and then you can pull it apart. So when you have that clipped on your child, you want to make sure that that is at armpit level. That's very important, that regardless if they're in a harness seat or if they are in a traditional seatbelt in a vehicle, that the seatbelt or the harness hits them in the strongest parts of their body. So with the chest plate, we want that at armpit level because that's where the bones are that is going to protect them if you were to get into an accident. If you are in a booster seat or if you're using a traditional seatbelt that's in your vehicle, it's the same thing. You want it to go over your shoulder and across the bottom or upper thighs to make sure that it is having contact of the strongest parts of your body or where there's bone. So we have this set up now. We've moved the straps. We know that if your child is rear facing, the strap should be at or below their shoulders. If they're forward facing, the strap should be at or above their shoulders. So now let's talk about the owner's manual. In the car seats that we provide, the owner's manuals are tucked into the back of the shell. Regardless if you get a seat through us or if you purchase a seat on your own, you always want to pay special attention to the owner's manual and keep it somewhere safe that you can refer back to it. Important information is printed on the stickers, but all of the detailed information can be found in the owner's manual. I always recommend storing this back into the shell of the seat so you know where it is at all times. Okay, so going back to the harness for just a minute, we're in the summer months now, so it's a little bit warm. You don't see this much now, but as we get into the colder weather, you tend to see children with bulky clothing or coats, things like that under the harness. You want to avoid anything bulky on the child under the harness because it can create slack in the harness. So if you were to get into an accident, it wouldn't protect them like it should. So make sure in the winter months, if they have a winter coat on, that you remove that jacket, remove the winter coat, or anything else that's bulky, and place your child in there. Of course, we don't want your babies to be warm or cold, so you can take a blanket after your child is securely buckled in. Then you can place the blanket over the harness. We just don't want anything to interfere with the harness so it can protect your child as best as possible. Also, the seats that we have here, they come with some special padding. This padding can be used rear facing. As you can see here, this is the headpiece. It's really easy to move. There's just a piece of Velcro and it goes through the fabric of the car seat. It also comes with an insert for the bottom. Thank you. That looks like this. So this insert can be used again when the seat is rear facing, but we want to make special note of this because nothing else that did not come with your seat should be used in the seat. There are many things that you can purchase at a store that may add comfort or say that they will add comfort to a seat or that they serve a specific purpose. However, if it was not manufactured with the car seat, that means it was not tested with the car seat. And we don't want to put your child in any danger. So make sure to only use the equipment that comes with your seat that you get from the manufacturer. Don't add anything extra that you could purchase from the store. Okay, so we've gone through the car seat. I want to talk a little bit for a second about seat belts. So in your vehicle, there are possibilities of different kinds of seat belts. You can have a seat belt that when you pull it out really slow and then let it back in, you can hear click, click, click. That means that it's locking. That is called a switchable seat belt. So if you pull the seat belt out all the way and you let it back in and you hear that clicking, then you know that that's locking. If you do not hear that clicking or it does not lock as you pull it all the way out, then what you would want to do is to, without your seat in the vehicle, attach the seat belt to the buckle and then pull up on the lap belt. If the lap portion of the belt moves, then that is also telling you that the lap is not locking. So in that case, you would need to use a locking clip. I do not have a locking clip with me right now. They do come with the car seats, but I just don't have mine with me today. If you want more information about a locking clip, there is going to be 2 other videos that you will need to watch, and that does go over the locking clip. Moving on to the actual latch system. The latch system is made up of the lower anchors, which on this seat come stored, and the top tether. When the seat is rear facing, you will never use the top tether. So it's important because these are pretty heavy. You want to loosen that and store it. This just ensures that as you are riding in your vehicle, if you would slam on your brakes or if you would get into an accident, that this is not going to fly around and hit anybody in the head because it will not feel good. So always make sure to store the top anchor when it's not in use. And again, you will not use the top anchor when it is rear facing. The lower anchors come stored. If you are not going to use the anchor system or the latch system, then you want to keep those stored. If you are going to use them, you can unstore them, and you want to always put the heavy side up. So For a rear-facing seat, you would find the anchors in the portion of your seat between the bottom and where it meets the back. There will either be round tabs or sometimes there are pieces of cloth that are hanging out to indicate where those lower anchors are on your vehicle. You want to make sure that the anchors are correctly routed through your seat. So if you have this seat, then for rear facing, the anchors would need to be routed through this position. For forward facing, the anchors would then be routed through this position. A good trick is to always route the anchors or the seatbelt through the path that is closest to the back of the vehicle seat. So if there's ever a time that you are just not sure which one to use, most likely you will find it printed on a sticker or stamped onto the shell of your seat. Or just remember that you want to use the path that is closest to the back of the vehicle seat, depending on the orientation of your seat, whether it's rear facing or forward facing. Speaking of the latch system and the seat belt in your vehicle are equally as safe. One is not safer than the other. The safest option always is the one that you can do correctly every single time. So if that's the latch system, then of course that would be safe. If you feel more comfortable always doing the seatbelt, using the seatbelt to secure your seat, then of course the seatbelt would be the safest for you. What you want to make sure with this car seat in particular and most others is not to use both the seatbelt and the latch system at the same time. It's usually one or the other. Very rarely does a manufacturer tell you to use them both. So again, only use either the seatbelt, making sure that it's locked, or the latch system. When you have your child in your vehicle and you have them harnessed in and you've used the seatbelt or the anchor system, you want to make special note to secure the seatbelts next to them. So if a child were able to grab the neighboring seatbelt with their feet or their hands, they could get tangled into that. So what you want to do is thread that seatbelt or run that seatbelt like you would if somebody was sitting in that seat. Just make sure to lock the seatbelt so if they were to get a hold of it, they will not get themselves tangled up. As far as positioning in your vehicle, it depends on your specific vehicle as to which position the seat is safest in. So I always encourage you to read the owner's manual that came with your vehicle, or you can also look it up online if you do not have the hard copy in your vehicle. The other option is to find a certified passenger safety technician, which we have here at the Tuscarawas County Health Department, and we can help you walk through that as well. Just to recap, I want to go over some of the most important things really quickly. So again, a child is safest rear facing until they are at least 2 years old. With this seat in particular, they can be up to 40 pounds and 40 inches. With this seat, you can turn it around to go forward facing, and they can sit safely in this seat up to 65 pounds or until they outgrow the harness, because the harness straps for forward facing should be at or above the shoulders. If their shoulders are above this top slot, then they would have outgrown the harness straps for this seat. Also, if their head is within an inch of the top of the shell, then they have outgrown this seat. For rear facing, the strap should be at or below their shoulders, and either way, the best method to make sure that it's tight enough is to do the pinch test. So right at their shoulders, see if you can pinch webbing between your fingers. If you can, you need to tighten it just a little more. There are going to be 2 more follow-up videos. Those were created by someone else, not by us. And after those, then you can follow the link so you can sign up to receive your car seat for your child. Something that I want to talk about just real briefly, I didn't show you earlier, is the booster seat. This is the booster seat that we give here. It is also an even flow. This seat can be backless, or it can also have a back to it. If you've ever seen these things dangling from your seat and weren't sure what they were, they do actually serve a purpose. What this does is it allows the seatbelt of your vehicle to the shoulder strap to go through here and sit at your child's shoulder at the proper height. So to make sure that the seatbelt is running across the middle of their shoulder. Because this seat also transitions or has the option to be a high back, you can use the back as well. To change it to a high back booster, it's as simple as clicking it into place. So these are the 2 seats we have here at the Tuscarawas County Health Department for the Ohio Buckeyes program. If you would like more information, of course, you can find us on Facebook or on our website at www.tchdnow.org.